Welcome back to Mentored, where you get to hear business mentorship in real time. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi, Willows.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
That's good. So, what do you need mentorship help on today? What are we talking about?
I just had the weirdest experience.
That's a good way to start. Continue.
Okay. So we do farmers markets. We're just gonna get into it.
Yeah, just dive into it.
All right. Just gonna yap. All right. So we do farmers markets, right? We do weekly ones. We do a lot of them, and you get like a lot of the same people coming back, like all the time, right? I thought I was building a relationship with this one customer.
Okay.
Right? Turns out they didn't know like who we were at all. All right, let me give you context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's one market you're at 2 times a week.
I am, yes.
I'm only on one day.
Yes.
But there's another bakery that's next to you on the day that I'm not there.
Yeah.
Lately, we've had so many people think that we're them.
Okay, because you're in the same spot as they are.
Yeah, but just on different days.
Yeah, so if you don't know how farmers markets works, listeners, not you.
No.
People, little tangent, but
yeah, please go off.
So people, entrepreneurs that have businesses, they sign up for the farmers market, they pay a fee to be there, and then they set up a booth at the farmers market.
You should like put a like little photo somewhere.
Yeah.
Right here.
I'm sure I'm sure you've seen that. We all have our little tents and we set up our booths. And a lot of markets, they come up with the map of where everyone goes, and they usually do that in a way where they're like, if there's 2 bakeries, for example, they put one on one side, one on the other side.
Bless you.
So you're not like, you don't have 6 bakeries right beside each other selling the same thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
That happened one time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, usually, so what they do at this farmers market that we both go to is they put one bakery does Tuesday, a different company, yours, does Thursday, and they put you in the same exact spot because that just makes sense for the layout.
Yeah.
To put a bakery here. So my tangent is this has happened to me. I've been doing farmers markets for 8 years. This has happened to me probably 10 times, maybe 15. Where somebody thinks that everyone that's there like works for the farmers market. I've had it's crazy. I've had people be like, "Oh, do you know if I'm just gonna if Bill's fire hydrant repair company's here?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I don't know that company." And I remember one vividly where they were like getting mad at me and they're like, "What do you mean you don't know?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I just show up and they're like, "What do you mean? You're like your coworkers. Like how do you not know if he's here?" And I'm like, wait, how do you think this works? Seriously. And like, you're in customer service mode, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just be like, "You're a fucking idiot."
What are we talking
about? But like, that's how it was though. It was,
Yeah.
I'm like, and I would never get mad at a customer, but I was just giving the energy back to them.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
they were like legitimately yelling at me where they're like,
Yeah.
"We should know." And I'm like, what is happening I'm like, man, we don't work together. Like I just show up, set up my booth, tear it down, and leave. Like I've never met this person. I've never heard of them before.
Dude, my favorite part about farmers markets is I don't know anyone's name.
No, you just
I know
what
what their
business
booth is.
Yeah, oh, it's so funny.
Like,
yeah. Dude, I do markets sometimes with some people like 4 days a week, all summer, and we're on like, I know their kids' names and like you know all these details about them, and I don't know their first name, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's so funny. I just know what their business is.
That's all I need to know, man.
But anyway, sorry for the tangent. But so people walk up to you, or this woman walks up to you on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. So you saw part of this, actually. I think.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't really listening to it. But then you were like, gave me a look afterwards. So I was like, what?
It was just like, I mean, like I think I'm really good at customer service.
I would say so.
That's all right. It was a little too much of a pat on the back. But like, she had me stumped. I've never. Okay. Okay. So the context with that was she comes up and this woman, she buys from us every single Thursday, the entire season, right? We're like nearing the end of it. So we've seen her like week after week. The week before, she's talking to us about like, "Oh, you guys, I just buy so much from you. Like I'm going to have to start working for you at some point." Like I thought we had like a good like
chemistry, like
like you know, that's what I was rapport.
Okay.
Good word. That's also how I know you're my mentors. Every time I don't know a word, you got it.
The mentored word of the day, rapport.
Perfect. I thought, we had something going. No. She comes up to us the other day, and she's like, "Where's your cinnamon raisin bread?" And me and my business partner were like, "Oh, we've never had that. We don't even have raisins in our kitchen." Like, and she was like insistent. She's like, "No, like I bought it from you. Where is it?" And we were like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not sure. Like, what you're talking about. We've never had that." And it was like back and forth where she was like, "No, you do." and I'm like, first of all, I didn't say this, but why would I lie to you?
Yeah.
Like, if you want that from me and I had it, I would love if you would like to take it home, right?
Yeah.
It was just weird. And then she was like just so confused and upset. And I know that the other vendor has a cinnamon raisin.
Yeah.
Run,
So
right?
this what we
on the
think,
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
Okay?
So what you're speculating is that they bought this bread from the other guy on Tuesday, thought it was you.
Yeah.
And then came here on Thursday and was like, "Why aren't you the same bake? Like, wait, you're the same bakery.
Like, where is it?"
Yeah.
When it's like every other week, she'd buy like her muffins, her cookies, like her sourdough buns, like, and it was like on like a schedule, right?
Yeah.
Like, very like clockwork. Like, she'd come up, we knew what she was getting, and it was just whatever happened. Like, she was just like, "Where's the bread?" And we were like, "We don't have it." And it just ended that like we stopped talking. I like looked over at my business partner for a second, turned back, she's gone.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen her since. What? Okay, so this sent me into a spiral, just like a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Especially because of that, where I was like, "Girl, I thought we had something." How do you like?
So what's your question?
I thought, sorry, okay. I thought that we had pretty decent like brand recognition.
Sure. Yeah.
And this was like the first time where I was like, "Oh my gosh, are we just like the bakery at a farmer's market?" And so that sent me into a little bit of a spiral. You have great branding.
Thank you.
I would say it's very concise. I mean, and you have a lot of different products, which like so do we. But it's like, I thought that it would be enough for us to like have like, like we got earthy vibes on our table. We have our name on everything. We have like all over our packaging. Like, we have our labels. Like our name is everywhere.
Yeah.
But to like have like someone just be like that insistent on, "No, you're somebody else."
Yeah.
How do you have good brand recognition? I guess because like for you, like you're not like always the only wine at a farmer's market or alcohol or whichever, but it's like, have you ever had that happen to you? Or like, I don't know.
Yes, I have had that happen where people are like very insistent that because we make a lot of like I don't want to say weird, but we make a lot of like unstandard unique wines from like fruits that wouldn't typically be made into a wine, like a raspberry wine and a strawberry wine and a blueberry wine and a cranberry wine and these things. So like if you grew up in a wine region, you wouldn't really be seeing wines that aren't made out of grapes. But we live in a cold climate, so we grow grapes, but we make a lot of, we're kind of known for our fruit wines. Which I find very funny, distinct fruit wines from grape wines, as if grapes aren't fruits, but whatever.
The different categories.
Yeah, so...
And I do recognize, too, that it's like, it's obviously different because you guys are very unique. So that's like a little bit.
But I have gotten people that are like, "Oh, I loved your, the Has Cap or the Choke Cherry," like something we've never made before.
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that, like... I've never had that before." And then I've had a couple people argue where they're like, "Well, maybe you just don't remember. Like, maybe you didn't work there yet, or maybe whatever. This was a long time ago." I'm like, "No, like I did everything from I've been here, man." Like,
I've been here since the beginning.
And that's happened too, where I've had some people be like, "Oh yeah, like the beer you make," and I'm like, "Oh, we don't make a beer." They're like, "No, I'm pretty sure you made a beer." I'm like, "Nope, never made a beer." Or they're like, "Oh, the whiskey." I'm like, "Nope, never made a whiskey." Like I've had people definitely where they're getting either their wires crossed with another local company, or they're just completely wrong, or they're just like have this like memory of my winery, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's like this."
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's also fair. Like that's just how people are. That it might not just be
so I
like a me thing.
No. So I definitely think it's not you. I think a part of being an entrepreneur is you have to take that in stride. You have to take mean customers, for lack of a better word, in stride. Especially it's hard because it's like the you being at the farm, like there's so many people that come to the farmers market, they don't know who the honey vendor is, they just know that there's honey to buy there. Same thing with coffee, same thing with bread, I assume, where they're like this happens to our friend Brett, who sharpens knives at the farmers market too, is that people he was like trying to get a client, like a wholesale client, and they said no, we only get our stuff sharpened from the guy at the market. And he's like, I am the guy at the market. And they like didn't believe him.
He's like, there's only one guy at the market. It's me.
But it's just crazy. So like that I've definitely seen that where like, I was beside a honey vendor a couple weeks ago, and a customer was like yelling at them because like, well, you said you would put a 5-gallon pail away for like and bring it for me. And they're like, I never said that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't even produce. And then I am beside them and I kind of chime in. I'm like, hey, there's a guy here on Thursdays that has pails, and he's like, oh, maybe that was the guy. But it's like they don't even know, right? So I think the average consumer doesn't know anything. Also, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, like, I don't even know the name of the loaves of bread that I used to buy before I got your awesome bread, but the loaves of bread I buy in the store, I just know there's the blue label one and the red label one. I don't know what either of them are called.
See, okay, because this is also kind of what got me thinking as well, is it's like, you know, I guess like you treat farmers markets as like little grocery stores.
Yes, right? For sure. Yeah.
And it's like, and it's very different because you can go grocery shopping, you go down the aisles, you look through everything, you like look at all the ingredients, you can be like, oh, I hate this brand, oh, I love this brand. But you like watch people do it to your face.
Oh yeah.
At farmers markets.
Yeah.
And that also got me thinking, is like, what an interesting like job it is to have. It's like to like, you're selling your products. Because even for me, like my branding compared to your branding, compared to like, there's this guy that does like finishing butters.
Right. Yeah.
Incredible. But their branding is like sick.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
But it's like even just like stuff like that, where it's like I've watched even like with his booth, people be like, I've seen that in the grocery store, I tried it, it's shit, and he like makes it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and you just have to stand there and be like,
yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah, that's that used to bug me. It still bugs me, and maybe it shouldn't, but it still bugs me. To this day, but it used to bug me a lot more, where people would I would literally give a sample and people would like look at me and be like, this is the worst wine I've ever had. Yeah. And I'm like, this took me 2 years to make.
Right. Like, but it is hard because it's like, but then you get like someone on the other hand where they're like, this is the best, and it's just I know it's a matter of taste, right? Yeah. Like that's why like, there's so many things.
I wish people would like realize that more, where they're like, something's not bad just because you don't like it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like a particular style of wine, or you don't like a particular style of Brussels sprouts or whatever, it doesn't mean anyone that does like it is wrong. It's just that everyone has their own taste. Like people, the cilantro soap people, right? Like it's just like,
that's true.
It's not cilantro. It doesn't make cilantro bad. It just means it's bad for you. Like you don't. Yeah. So I always encourage people to kind of change their language from it was bad to I didn't like it, specifically because like in my industry, in the liquor industry, for like wine competitions or beer competitions, you're not getting a medal based on if the judges liked it or not.
Right. It's like different tasting notes.
You're getting a medal based on. So if you're entering, you know, a Cabernet Sauvignon, how many of these points is it hitting that a perfect Cabernet Sauvignon should hit. So how are the tannins? How is the mouthfeel? How is the smell? How is like all these notes?
Yeah.
And they're judged on 6 or 7 different levels. And if you hit, it's the same. It's the way like the shittiest vodka probably has a double gold medal. Has a gold medal in the vodka competition because they technically made a perfect vodka,
right?
But it doesn't mean it's good. It's just hitting all the levels. And if you ever here's like a kind of pull back the curtain a little bit. If you look up how many people, like if anyone's ever like, oh, we won this gold medal in this beer competition, look how many other people won gold medals.
Right.
Hundreds of people can win a gold medal in one competition. It's people think it's first, second, third, and I think I've done it too. I think you kind of play that up sometimes where you're like, oh yeah, we got a silver medal in this competition. And everyone's like, oh, how many people competed? Oh, 1,000 wineries. It's like, oh, you got second over 1,000 wineries. It's like,
right.
Well, yeah, I got a silver medal.
Yeah. You know which one is a good one though?
Okay.
Shrugging Doctor, Apple Cinnamon Mead of the Year. That one hits all the notes.
Yeah, they sent us a trophy for that one. That was actually like first.
And that one actually is Mead of the Year. I think that you can only have one.
Yeah, it was only one. Yeah.
So
yeah,
just you want to try that? Shrugdog.com.
Thanks, Alyssa. But I think like people are so disconnected from like where their actual food and beverages are coming from.
Yeah.
And this is like people I don't know if this is like a after pandemic thing where like people don't know how to act anymore in public. Like, but just like I can't even imagine, like I barely leave. I wouldn't even leave a bad review at a restaurant if it sucked. I just wouldn't go back. You know what I mean? I'm like not one of those people that like likes to make a big deal out of like whatever.
Yeah, because you just move on, right?
I just move on.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't even imagine coming up to me and being like, "This sucks."
Yeah, going out of your way to like, and like, okay, I mean, like me bringing it back to the story too. Like this woman was not she was not mean, but it was more. It just like sparked this thought process for me.
You think somebody that's like a good customer of yours you isn't actually buying for you, they're just buying because it's the bread of the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, I mean, and then that's also fine, but it's like, how do you like, is there any way to even get past that? Or is that just like, I mean, or is it just genuinely the same as like a grocery store that you're buying the blue label or the...
Yeah. I think it definitely, there's definitely always going to be a section of people that are consumers that are just too spaced out and like you'll never be able to convert them, like no matter what. But you know, if that starts happening, if you're seeing low conversion rates or whatever, however you track that metric, I would maybe think about doing a rebrand, like doing what do they call it? It's not a rebrand. It's like when you you kind of polish you kind of change a font set or change colors or whatever. Companies do that all the time. Like you see these giant companies change their logo every
just like
few
a slight
years, right?
little bit,
and that's usually based on customer trends change over time, right? So, and we've done that multiple times where we've changed kind of the fonts on the labels, and we've changed the logo slightly. Like the actual drawing was the same, but like the word mark or whatever changed.
You guys have like different tiered stuff, right?
Like, yeah, we kind of have our
like the right way to.
Yeah, well, we have our like core label, and then we have like our like premium stuff label, and it's like slightly different, but yeah, so it's hard. Like a big way, you can either do it through, and I'm not a marketing expert by any stretch of the imagination, but in my mind, you can kind of do it a couple ways. Like one being your logo, and then another thing is like all the stuff that's not related to your logo. Yeah. That's part of your brand. Like you ever drive past a building that used to be a Pizza Hut?
Yeah, I guess, and you can tell what it used to be.
It used to be a Pizza Hut.
Crazy, yeah. Good point.
Stuff like that, or those old Wendy's with the like porch, the sunroom porch in the front.
God, I forgot about that.
So there's a garden center, like a plant store here that used to be a Wendy's, and it has that same in the front.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you can and you drive past and you're like, oh, that used to be a Wendy's, obviously.
Right, and that's the first thing you think of.
And same thing, yeah. There's like
interesting.
There's a restaurant downtown, like an Indian restaurant, and it used to be a Pizza Hut, and it still has the roof. They painted it black now, but
Right,
you know,
right.
you're like, oh, they used to be a Pizza Hut.
Interesting.
And so that's like the kind of the secondary branding that's on top of your logo. And the easiest way to do it for, like, obviously you're not going to make all your buildings look the same or whatever. So
Right.
the easiest way to do it as a company your size is by color. Is you
Okay.
kind of pick so like my graphic designer, and I know like your sister does all your graphic design, like the sister owner
Yeah.
does the graphic design, but my graphic designer, he made like a color wheel for us
Oh.
with like 10 different secondary colors on top of what the other colors are. And I'm only allowed to use those colors in the color wheel in any of the posts or branding or text or anything like that.
Right. Just
Just for
that
people's
consistency, right?
yeah, and people's like subtle, like you can you know what McDonald's red looks like.
Right. Well, and that's like that like pattern recognition, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
human
So
nature.
I wonder if like adding a you wouldn't have to change your like logo, but I wonder if just adding like a color splash somewhere.
Like on our labels or something.
Yeah, would I wonder if people would now like associate that with
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking too, like now, like actually while we're talking, is like even just for like my industry, like specifically, I would say that it might not even be like branding, like packaging, like labeling, because I'm trying to relate it to like your industry, which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
That it's like I think it's more just like also baking style. Like style of baking, even just like the way that we shape things,
Yeah.
the things that like the way that things look is like maybe we just need to like
Make it more
get
unique.
fancier, you
Yeah.
know, because it's like for bread, like the way that you score it, different designs and stuff, like we get a lot of compliments on the way that we do it because it's very different from how most other people do it. So I'm just thinking about that now, that it's like maybe we need to get like more creative with the stuff that we're doing.
You need to get like a
the
wolf.
physical like
You need to get like a wolf like like cookie cutter
we used
for
to
the
do
top.
we used to do wolf paws.
Yeah, like
like,
bear
we do,
claws,
like,
but
little,
wolf
like,
paws.
Yeah, we'd
Yeah.
like make like little like thumbprint cookies, and instead of just like the one like thing in the middle, we'd turn into like a paw,
Yeah.
and then everyone thought they were dog treats.
Okay.
So that
see now that
and then
I
you're
wouldn't
like
even I wouldn't even thought of that.
yeah, there was one customer that was like, oh, wolf paws, that's so cute because Prairie Wolf Bakery, and I was like, I love you.
Please marry
You can
me.
take this cookie actually.
And you did like
So-
I heard a lot of compliments like for the Halloween you did like spider cookies and stuff like that.
That was so fun.
And those were cool, but that doesn't help your brand.
You also
though.
you just can't do that, you know. But it's
Yeah.
also like, I might have just mentored myself. Thanks, Willows.
Okay.
I'm just teasing.
Don't need me, I guess.
No, but like obviously though, because I'm not going to talk out loud to myself. I wouldn't do that. It's weird. No, but it's like that post did really good.
Oh, dude.
Like that Halloween post
Dude,
that we did.
Instagram is like most of the stuff that looks the best for Instagram doesn't taste good. You know what I mean?
Except for Prairie Wolf Bakery.
Except for Prairie Wolf Bakery. But like I mean like people
No,
like
that's
that. There's a bakery in small town Manitoba near us that has like 1 million followers on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they just
they
like
do.
they post a bunch of behind the
Just,
scenes
like, yeah,
like baking
I mean,
ASMR
that
and
is
stuff
cool.
like that.
Maybe I should
And I
check
always
it.
think that I always forget that, and then I'll see them on Instagram or whatever, and I'm like, why do you have 500,000 followers? I'm like, oh yeah, right. They just like have a big
Yeah.
online following, and obviously that's not really converting to sales because these people live in
Yeah.
other
yeah.
countries or whatever. But it's just
But-
interesting to see.
But it might honestly like just need to be like that needs to be like our kind of branding, that it's like, you see, I don't know how to do it yet obviously, but it's like, oh, you see a cinnamon bun and people are like, oh, that's Prairie Wolf.
Yeah, and then someone tries to copy you, and you're like, oh, they're making it in like a Prairie Wolf style.
Like style. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like very popular of like tartine bread.
Okay.
It's in San Francisco. It's like very popular in the bread community.
Sure.
But it's like people will say it's like tartine style.
Yeah,
Like if there's like a certain bake on it.
which is what you hope happens.
Yeah.
But then also, I want you to be prepared for when someone with more money than you steals your style,
Yeah.
and then everyone thinks you stole their style.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, that's how it goes. But like maybe
Yeah.
that's also part of it, is like just we need to be a little more Because, like, I don't know, you can talk to people all you want about, like, your brand and your story and, you know, farm to table stuff, but, like, that won't stick unless people either think it looks cool or it tastes really good.
Yeah. Well, it's just like you need to stick in people's minds is the big thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, like, with you, I think, like, the way you do your branding is super smart, because it's not like someone can pop open a bottle and smell it and taste it before they buy it.
Yeah.
For us, they, like, will smell the stuff through the plastic.
Yeah.
And it's, like, visually appealing.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, it's like you're just looking at liquid in a bottle.
But, like, you and the other, for wine, labels all you have to go off of.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have a lot more branding opportunity.
Like, just for the style of baking that we're doing.
Exactly, yeah. But, like, you
design.
and the bakery that the person confused you with, you're not particularly close in products, though.
No,
like,
absolutely
you have completely
not.
different styles of product.
Very different looks as well.
And it still didn't work.
That's true.
So, but okay, but I guess, like, here's the thing. No. But I guess here's the thing is, like, you got to look at your sample size, right? And if this was like 1,000 customers to one that was confused, you're doing
That's fair.
you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm focusing on the wrong.
I would be now, just like you were saying with the dog treat thing, that it wasn't a dog treat. You obviously had it happen enough times. So you're like, okay, this
like,
is not
it was
working.
honestly one person that was like that understood it,
and
I
everyone
was
else
like,
didn't.
oh, the amount of people that are like, is that for dogs?
Oh, okay.
Why is it?
Yeah.
Why is it with everything else? We're like, no, it's for humans. Like,
Yeah.
we're trying to be cute. And they'd be like, oh, very nice girls. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like to
See, and that's an interesting pivot, because, like, there's people that I've seen over the years that, like, double down on bad ideas because they think it's a good idea. And like, you could have been like, well, fuck you, we're Prairie Wolf Bakery, we're making these wolf claws, and if you don't get it, and then that just, like, hurts your sales, right?
Oh yeah,
So
like,
it's, like, smart. It's good that you can pivot.
Yeah, the batch ran out and we stopped making them. So
Yeah. That is interesting. I've never heard that story from you, though.
Really?
Yeah, no,
That's funny.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, just like the guy that sells the smoked fish or whatever at the market.
So good, by the way.
He has scraps that he sells as pet treats.
Oh, I didn't know he did
Yeah.
that. That's smart. Yeah.
So he used to have a sign on his table that said, like, pet treats or whatever.
Yeah.
And he took it off because people kept walking by his entire booth.
Oh.
And then he, like, heard somebody talking to their friend, and they're like, oh, I'm going to get some fish. And they're like, oh, no, it's just pet treats.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then they're like, no, like, he sells fish for humans. And like, what?
But that's not what it says.
But, like, the sign there says pet treats.
Crazy.
And they're like, look at the other sign. And they're like, oh.
Right.
But, like, I get people all the time that walk by, and the one person says to their friend, they go, is that wine? And the other person goes, no, that's cider. And they keep walking.
Right.
But it's wine.
And you just want to be like,
Yeah, and I have to be like,
okay.
yeah. Or that's happened before, too, many times, dozens of times, where they're like, is that alcoholic? And they go, oh, no, it's not alcoholic. And they keep walking. And I'm like, no, it's alcoholic. Like, it's you know.
Is that why you have that giant sign?
Yes,
behind?
Winnipeg has a winery. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
smart. Yeah.
I think
such big letters.
your farmer's market display should answer the first 3 questions that a customer has.
Yeah.
Your
okay.
signs, that's what they should be answering. That when they walk up, they have less questions.
Also for your own sanity.
That as well. But
to
yeah.
not like, yeah. Crazy.
So, did I mentor you properly? Was there?
Absolutely.
Did that answer the question?
I feel mentored.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think like the most of it is like you just can't help it sometimes.
Yeah, that's something that I've been working on. And I think that you should work on as well. Is you just need to have thick skin.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between people that have, like, legitimate criticism where they're like, hey, this style of bread is the exact same as the other person, and you know, for these reasons. But realistically, this is just someone who is, I hate saying dumb because I like my customers, but like the average person's just in their own world,
and they're just not aware too.
Yeah.
Like, I think even just now, like when we're just talking, like I don't think I've ever, which seems silly of me, that I've never really like compared like a farmer's market to a grocery store.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, obviously.
Oh, yeah, that's and that's how a lot of people.
That's the point.
There's people that treat it like that because they, because they legitimately care more about local and they want to support local, and that's why they go to the farmers market.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, man, that just go to the farmers market because it's easier, and they don't want to go. They don't have to go inside of a building. They can be outside in the nice whatever, and it's near their house.
Well, that's
and
what I was gonna
They
say.
don't have to go to Safeway or whatever.
Yeah, like the ones where we go to where it's like right in some like in a neighborhood where like there's like we're surrounded by houses.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so a lot of those people like they're not as like supportive of local. They like
just easier.
It's just easier, and the average consumer is going to make a decision that's based on their convenience.
Absolutely.
And I don't think you shouldn't be getting mad at that.
No,
you should be
true.
changing what you do to
like cater to
like,
that.
to cater to what consumers are doing. You shouldn't try to change what consumers are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might start making cinnamon raisin bread though.
Just to get to
just
the
so
other guy.
she's right. Also to oh man, that guy.
Be like, I did lie to you. I did have cinnamon raisin bread the whole time.
In the back. I just wanted to see if you were a loyal customer.
You had
and
to come
you
back.
walked away.
And you walked away, yeah.
Start playing mind games with her.
No, you never asked for it.
That's not what gaslighting means.
What are you talking about? That's all we have. We've never made anything else but.
We're not even a bakery.
What are you talking about? This is a stamp company.
Jesus. Oh man.
All right. Well, thank you for getting mentored
Every day.
with us today.
It's pretty good.